So how was the fishing on the Delta last week? Well, that depends. If you went out as the full moon was leading into the full moon, you probably did really, really well. After the full moon, not so good. Very, very average. I'll get into the details in just a few minutes. Let's take a look at a few pictures. Hi everyone, thanks for joining me. You're watching In Deep on the Delta. This is the weekly fishing report for June 4th. Let's start off with a little business. We have the Central Valley Tackle Swap coming up June 20th. That's going to be in Modesto, 1000 Kansas Avenue. If you are looking to maybe purchase or get a table at the swap, you can call Steve at 209-402-1764. It's a great swap meet. Bring your stuff, buy some stuff, meet some people, have a good time. Now, we do have a winner for the $150 gift certificate from the Bass Hole Tackle Shop. I'm going to announce that at the end of the video, or at the end of the report. Make you guys watch the whole report, or I guess you guys can just skip ahead and see who the winner is. Anyhow, we'll do that at the end of the report. Rob Cloutier is going to make a special guest appearance. He's going to talk about what he's been seeing in the last week or so out here on the Delta. He's going to do a lot of the heavy work. I'll give you my opinion on what's been happening out here. And I have been, Nate and I have been fishing primarily early and late, so we'll be able to give you a really good rundown on what's going on the change of light bite. And Rob will do a lot of the heavy lifting on what's going on the general conditions out here. But let's start with Clear Lake. I think I talked to Mike. Mike, thanks for giving me that information out at Clear Lake Outdoors. And what Mike said, it's a little slow, and the word he used was the lake was ugly. I guess they had a turnover. The algae bloom is going full strength, and they're using some type of algae retardant. And Mike says it's turning the lake kind of a milky color. So things aren't looking so good at the lake. The fish are still biting. It's not in great shape, but the fish are still biting. So if you go up there, the big thing right now is these prickly pears and the I don't know what they're calling these things, the alien type looking baits that everybody's using. The prickly pears are doing well. Jigs and crayfish imitations are also doing well. Everybody's hugging the bank. They're fishing banks and docks. So if you go up there, don't be alarmed. The lake has turned over. It looks a little green, and if you find some milky water, that's this algae retardant. They're hoping that they can spray the lake with this, and I guess it'll hurry up the algae bloom or clear it up, or I'll get more information on that next week. But if you go up there, don't be alarmed. That's Clear Lake. Don Pedro, I talked to Aaron Jones from Central Valley Bait and Tackle, and same thing is happening on Pedro is happening here on the Delta. Before the full moon, the fishing was very good. As that full moon, panned out, the fishing took a little bit of a dive. But still a good bite going right now. The fish are very close to the shore. You want to fish from the shore out to about 20 feet. Top waters are really good. Stay on walking baits and moving baits. Fish fast. Cover a lot of water. The fish on the main body of the lake seem to be much more active than in the coves. They're still chasing shad around, but Aaron was saying you don't want to fish slow. You want to fish fast. Move along. You can fish top waters all day. If you find a school of fish or a school of bait, you can sit down and maybe throw some jigs or spend a little time in one area. But other than that, you really want to fish it quick to find the fish and move around a lot. So that is Don Pedro. Let's get into the Delta, and everything looks good here. We got 68 to oh, you know what? I have a little story, a good story before we get into the Delta. And last week I got to go out with a new friend of mine, Colton. Colton is 6 years old. He's a hardcore fisherman, and Colton won a trip to come out fishing with me from the Delta Saints feed that they had a couple months ago. So we finally got together. Colton comes out. He's got a brand new fishing rod, and it was a great day. Colton came out. Never caught a bass before. He caught his first bass. He went on to break his personal best record. We got a picture of Colton with that fish. He picked up a 5-fish bass limit and 16 sunfish. So Colton, it was a great day. I had a lot of fun. I hope you had some fun. And tell your parents I think that that reel that you're using on that new rod you got is pretty much worn out. So here we are on the Delta, 68 to 70 degree water temps. Really clear water here in the central Delta. I guess as you get up north and here and there you've got a little bit of murky water, but all in all the river is in very good shape. We have had some wind, we have had some heat, and I think that when we can lose a little bit of the wind and keep the heat, things are going to be doing really well. I have not been getting many reports at all on stripers. I know they're still out here. I see a lot of people fishing for them, and every now and then I talk to somebody who catches a few, but I think the striper run is kind of dwindling down. I have noticed a big decrease when it comes to sea lions in the system. So usually when they leave, that's probably meaning the stripers are heading out. So they're probably following the stripers, and we're going to have to wait a few months for them to come back in the system. So that's the striper report. What happened here with the tournaments? Well, BBT had a tournament Saturday and they had a tournament Sunday. It took 30 pounds to win Saturday, and I think the big fish in the tournament was right at 12 pounds. And guess who won the tournament? A guy you probably never heard of, Lorenzo Rossetti, won with 30 pounds. I'm getting tired of announcing that. I like Lorenzo a lot. He's a nice guy, but geez, give somebody else a chance, Good job, Lorenzo. Lorenzo is fishing with his son, Luca, and they won the tournament. So good job, guys. Average weight was about 15 pounds, so that's not bad. BBT also had another tournament Sunday, and it took 23 to win that one. And I think there's about a 13-pound average in that one. So, weights aren't bad. They're not great. Both of those were right there at the full moon. As that full moon dropped off, the reports that I've been getting have been a lot of people have been struggling not to catch fish. Everybody seems to be catching fish, but a lot of small fish and the bigger fish have been harder to come by. With that being said, the folks that are out there, they may go through 10 or 15 fish and they'll get 1, 5, 6, 7 pound fish, but it's hard to get multiple big fish. So with that, let me switch over here. We'll go over to the Bass Hole Tackle Shop, and I'll let Rob give you his opinion on what's going on out here. Then I'll get back and tell you what Nathan and I have been doing. So, Rob, answer my question. If the weather holds and we continue to get warm weather, the water temperatures continue to crawl up to that 70, 75 degree mark, and we don't have a bunch of wind, what do you think's going to happen? Because I think the weather is going to get better.
They say it's going to get better. We have these storms rolling in and out. The water's freezing right now. It's still really, really, really cold. You got one day it's 90 degrees, the next day it's 60 degrees. So it's kind of fluctuating. But we're so far into the season right now that these fish, they're like, we've had enough. We're done. The bite's still phenomenal right now, whether it's the fluctuating of the temperatures. I was out yesterday morning in that big storm we had coming in, and oh my God, the bite was phenomenal, from top water to spinnerbaits, crankbaits, anything I was throwing out there. When those days we have those big storms roll in, you get overcast in the morning, a little bit of rain throughout the day, and the temperatures don't drop below the 50s. That bite is phenomenal out there. Don't be scared to get wet. The fishing's great when it's like that.
Show them 3 baits in here, 4 baits that they should be using, especially give them a topwater bait. I know you're going to talk about the chatterbait. Let's not even talk about the frog and punch. Those are there.
Those are givens right there, right? Again, that Rico is my go-to. It's my favorite. I'm throwing that bluegill pattern right now. If you guys noticed, you've been out on that river, there's a lot of bluegill, a lot of bream. They're making their beds up on the bank. They're fighting with the bass that are still there. There's another spawn going on right now. We have a full moon on Sunday. I saw fish on beds the other day. I saw fry. Bluegill are up there, so I'm keying in on that bluegill pattern. So I'm throwing a bluegill chatterbait, and I'm throwing a bluegill frog, and I'm throwing a bluegill spinnerbait. When it gets real super windy, I throw that 3/4 ounce bluegill spinnerbait. Double willow, double Colorado. I prefer the double willow more than anything. I do have both of them, but I prefer the double willow. Just in that real high wind area, we get around that glassy calm area, I'm throwing that Rico and bluegill pattern or that frog and bluegill pattern.
The willow leaf spinnerbait. You don't use a trailer on that much?
No, I don't throw a trailer on anything. My buzz baits, my spinner baits, I don't even put trailer hooks on there. If they grab it, they grab it. If they don't, they don't. I know I might be missing on a couple bites here and there. I just don't do it. Those baits are already big enough baits, in my opinion. You don't need to really put something else on them. The only time, of course, the chatterbait, I will put that hog farmer or the missile bait spunk shad on there. I really like the pintail as well as the machete minnow from Pro Point. I'm a real big believer in that fork tail bait. It's an awesome bait, awesome trailer. But between that, the last couple days, I really haven't had to slow down and throw that Senko, which I've been doing really good on. Or the drop shot. I've just been working through it, throwing that reaction. The fish are really keying in on anything red and anything orange right now.
Red and orange.
Yeah, for some reason, the majority of the crawfish that the craw eaters, I call these bass craw eaters because I'll catch them and they'll be bright orange, like they just came out of a tanning bed. It's crazy. Their fins are orange, everything, and they're spitting up crawdads. They're pooping crawdads all over the boat. It's everywhere. I know these fish are just keying in on those bright orange, those bright red crawdads. And again, that dude right there is an awesome dude to be throwing around. That dude right there is an awesome guy to be throwing around. Anything in that orange and that red pattern. Even if it's that little faded orange, you get around that cleaner water. They like that little bit subtler stuff right there. It doesn't have to be that bright orange, but that subtle orange. It's just going by them. They're like, hey, here's one of them crawdads. Let's eat it. But going back to it, the bite is phenomenal. I've been catching decent fish. The frog lets me down more than I'd like to admit. I've lost some giants on that, and man, they'll come up and they'll grab it, and you'll swing into them, and the fight will be on, and they just come off. Double down, because parents, if you got kids, they can throw that frog up on the bank in the tulies and it doesn't get snagged. Every 2 seconds is when you're throwing a frog or a Senko. That frog is weedless, so the kids can just huck it everywhere, and man, they get blown up everywhere.
Talk about that Spro. A couple guys were in. They were saying they were killing them on that. They're talking about fishing bluegill beds and things this time of year.
Right. So we talk about that bluegill. I have yet to do this. I've been throwing the Buka one. And I've been catching them, but I haven't been throwing it this year. Is
that what that's called?
No, this is the Spro, the KGB. This is the new Chad Shad. This is the micro version of it right there. It comes in bone, whatever that color is and whatever that color is. But I would throw this dude right here. It looks just like that bluegill as it's whipping by him real quick. It's the closest one between those two. The bone, obviously good for the striper and everything else like that. But a lot of guys have been coming in buying these and saying that they're throwing them around those bluegill beds and they're just destroying bass. Those fry garters, the post spawn. Back to it here. We had that big spawn a couple weeks back. Now these fish are just starting to recover, and I'm catching a lot of my fish on these edges of these flats where they were spawning, but they've pulled off and they're just recovering on these edges is where I'm kind of picking off and getting all my bites at. Like I said, the other day I went out in that storm. I was out there at 6:30 in the morning. I probably had 100 fish by 8 o'clock.
Wow.
It was
and
every
you were
cast.
covering what? You weren't, you didn't have to slow down.
I didn't have to slow down. I had one rod in my hand, a reaction, and I just hucked it, and it was every other cast was a bite or a fish.
Yeah, they are out there.
It was ridiculous. And as soon as that sun came out, the bite disappeared around 11. But then I came back out in the evening, and the bite was decent again. Early mornings, that real early morning, that sun's up about 5 o'clock, 5:15-ish, that 4:30 to 5:30 is that magic window, man. If you're out there on the water, throw something that moves and makes some noise, vibrates, those fish are gonna key in on it and they're gonna eat it. It's a fun time to be out there. If the mosquitoes aren't killing you and the weather's nice, it's a great time, as well as that 7:30 to 8:30. That 7:30 to 8:30 is the magic hour. You get in the right bank and that frog and that glassy calm water with that whopper plopper frog or the popper, man, those big fish are out and they want to eat. That's all they want to do is recover. So the bite's good. It's heating up. Weather permitted, we get some good weather, it's just going to get better and better, in my opinion.
That's what I'm hoping for too. So Rob, everybody knows where you're at out here on Bethel Island. You guys know Rob. Come on in and hit him up, talk about what's new in the shop, and he'll give you the up-to-date information. So Rob, thanks a lot.
Hey, thank you.
We're going to get back to the regularly scheduled program, and we'll talk to you soon.
10-4.
All right. I want to thank Rob for taking the time to come out and give his opinion on what's going on out here. Remember, Rob is the owner of the Bass Hole Tackle Shop out on Bethel Island. I probably don't have to announce that, but once again, I want to just say support your local tackle shops. If you're coming out to Russo's or you're coming out to fish, you're on Bethel Island, stop in and say hi to Rob. He's always got new stuff in there, and he's always got the latest gossip and the latest truths here on the Delta. So with that, like I said, the reports that I have been getting since Monday have really been, you know, I'm not saying that people are suffering out here. They're catching fish, but it's been tough to get any bigger fish. An average team will go out, weekend anglers, and they'll get anywhere from 15 to 20 fish. A lot of, you know, I'll say 5 or 6 of those may be rats. 5 or 6 of them may be kind of not rats, but right there at that 12 to 14 inch class, and you know, maybe a couple of 3-pounders, maybe a big one if they're lucky, but it's just okay fishing. Now Nathan and I have been out quite a few times. We've been fishing both early morning, fishing the change of light bite, and we've been fishing late, and as you can see, the sun's going down. Nathan's sitting in the front of the boat right now. As soon as I get done with this, we're going to go out and give it a try and see what happens tonight. But the change of light bite, both AM and PM, have been underwhelming. I had one good day, right as last weekend. I probably had about 25 fish. I think I got one nice one, about 4 pounds. And then the moon dropped out. And since then, we have been struggling for 2.5 hours in the morning, 2.5 hours in the evening, getting maybe a dozen fish. The big fish have disappeared. A lot of rats. Our big fish the last couple trips have been maybe 2 pounds. We have gotten some big bites, but something is going on here where the bigger fish just aren't eating the baits again. I was out this morning. I think my first 6 baits, my first 6 bites, and a couple of them were pretty good bites. I think they were decent fish. I didn't hook one fish. I did end up catching a dozen fish or so, up to about 2.25 pounds. One other thing I noticed, the fish that I was catching, as soon as I pulled those in the boat and they dropped and hit the deck, the baits fell out. So that kind of gave me an idea that these fish just aren't, you know, on an active feed mode right now. So here's my 2 cents, and here's what I think's going on. Here on the Delta, probably about 70% of the fish after this last full moon have spawned. We still have about 30% of the fish that will spawn in the next full moon, somewhere in those, you know, in that area. What we need is warm weather, the water temperatures to continually creep up, and I hope they stay between 70 and 73 for the next 2 or 3 weeks, but steadily creep up and not have a cold front come in and drop the weather, not have a bunch of wind that creates a bunch of wave action and dirties up the water, just stable weather conditions. When that happens, especially building into this next full moon, I think what might be the case is we'll see the general buildup as the full moon comes in. But remember, 70% of our fish have spawned. And by the way, everybody's seeing fry out here. We have had a decent spawn. I think, you know, the fish got out and they produced pretty well, but not great, but decent. But anyhow, we've got these fish that have already spawned, and the big females by this next 2 or 3 weeks will have recovered. And what I'm hoping for, as those females recover, as the weather flattens out, the river stays in good shape, we should see some really good fishing. And I've been saying that a lot, and I'm hoping it's going to happen. We just have to keep our fingers crossed, and I think as long as the weather stays level, we're going to see what happens. I think it's going to be good. And with that, I think Nathan and I are going to pack up. We're going to go out. I think we're going to start on that bank right behind us and see if we can't catch some fish. You know what? I almost forgot. I have to announce the winner of this week's drawing, or last week's drawing. And this is for the $150 gift certificate from the Bass Hole Tackle Shop. Is Ronnie 6, RONNIE 6. Ronnie, hit me up at my Gmail, SCOOPER9561032 at gmail.com. Hit me up and we'll figure out, or I'll let you know how you can get in and get that gift certificate out at the Bass Hole. Thanks a lot, Ronnie, and I want to thank all of you guys who have been sending in reports, comments, and just supporting the channel. It's been great. I continue to make friends out here on a daily basis, and there's nothing better than that. Well, maybe catching a big fish tonight might be better, but I want to thank all you guys for supporting the channel. Next week's drawing. Oh, I got a couple of things here I got to show you. Next week's drawing, we're going to be giving away 2 custom baits. I've got a rat from Sack Pig Baits. Michael gave me a couple of these, so we're probably going to be raffling some of these off. There's going to be a custom, I think he calls this the Mischief Rat. I did a video on this a couple of weeks ago. Great rat. I've been catching fish on it, and I guarantee you whoever wins this, you will be catching fish on it from day one when you come out here. And the other bait that we're going to have, and this is a set of baits. We have basically a striper bait, and this is a walking bait from Delta Glides. This is a custom bait, and if you want the information on this, you're going to have to call Sal. Sal makes all of these baits. He makes them by hand, one at a time, wood baits. He has a great following. These things catch fish. If you want to get one of these, I got to pull my glasses down here. Call Sal at 209-423-1008. And again, I want to thank Michael from Sack Pig Baits for donating this, Sal for donating this great striper bait. These are going to be a package. Remember, the Sack Pig Baits, you can get those at Tackle Warehouse. Sal has some of his baits in local shops, but like I say, they're made one at a time. If you can't find them, call Sal. He'll get you one of these. You get it in your hands, you'll start catching stripers. Thanks a lot. We'll see you guys on the river. Good luck.